A woman from South Korea stands before Judge Caprio facing a speeding ticket. Simple case. Should take 5 minutes. But she won't let him finish a single sentence. Interrupts constantly. Talks over him. Refuses to listen. Then she says the words that change everything. "You're being racist." Judge Caprio's pen stops. His expression goes cold. And what he does next, doubling her fine on the spot, becomes the most talked-about ruling in his courtroom's history. Watch till the end because this woman learns the hardest lesson possible. Respect isn't optional, and playing the race card doesn't work when you're the problem. Drop your city and subscribe. This escalation is wild. Wednesday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. The bailiff calls. Case 11628, Minji Park. Excessive speed, Route 95. A woman in her late 30s approaches, wearing designer clothes and large sunglasses she doesn't remove. She's holding her phone, texting as she walks to the podium. Judge Caprio looks up. "Good afternoon, Ms. Park." She glances up briefly, still typing. "Yes, hello. Ms. Park, you're cited for traveling 82 miles per hour in a 65 zone. That's 17 over the limit. Can you—" "I wasn't going that fast." She cuts him off immediately. Judge Caprio pauses. "Ms. Park, the officer's radar—" "The radar is wrong. I know how fast I was going, maybe 70, not 82. Ma'am, I need you to let me finish explaining. In Korea, the police don't stop people for this. It's normal speed." Judge Caprio's patience is visible but thinning. "Ms. Park, we're not in Korea. We're in Rhode Island, and here, 82 in a 65 zone is excessive speed. But I'm telling you the radar is wrong. Ma'am." His voice firms up. "You need to stop interrupting. I'm trying to explain the charges and hear your response, but I can't do that if you talk over me." Minji crosses her arms. "I'm just telling you the truth. You asked me to explain. I haven't finished asking the question yet. That's the issue." Judge Caprio takes a breath, clearly choosing patience. "Ms. Park, the citation indicates you were in the left lane, passing vehicles. The officer paced you for half a mile at 82 miles per hour. Do you dispute that you were in the left lane passing other cars?" "Yes, I was passing because—" "So you were in the left lane?" "Yes, but everyone drives like that. It's not dangerous. In Seoul—" "We're not in Seoul." Judge Caprio's voice sharpens slightly. "Ms. Park, I need you to understand something. Rhode Island traffic laws apply to everyone driving in Rhode Island, regardless of where you're from. The speed limit on Route 95 is 65. You were going 82. That's the violation. But the radar could be wrong. Those machines make mistakes. The officer also paced you visually for half a mile. Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe he's—" She pauses, then says it with an edge. "Maybe he stopped me because I look different." The courtroom goes very quiet. That implication hangs in the air. Judge Caprio's expression doesn't change, but something shifts. "Ms. Park, are you suggesting the officer stopped you based on your ethnicity?" "I'm just saying, in America, I know this happens." Judge Caprio chooses his words carefully. "Ms. Park, racial profiling is a serious allegation. Do you have evidence that this stop was motivated by anything other than your speed?" "I just know that—" "Evidence. Do you have evidence?" "No, but I feel—" "Feelings aren't evidence. The officer has radar data showing 82 miles per hour. He has visual confirmation over half a mile. He has dash camera footage. Do you have anything that contradicts this besides your feeling that you weren't going that fast?" Minji's voice rises. "Why are you not listening to me? I'm telling you, I am listening. You're not listening to me." Judge Caprio's patience is fraying. "Ms. Park, here's what's going to happen. The fine for 17 miles over the limit is $350 plus court costs. That's $415 total. Do you understand?" $350? That's crazy. In Korea, we're not in Korea. Judge Caprio's voice rises for the first time. "You keep comparing everything to Korea. You're not in Korea. You're in Rhode Island. You broke Rhode Island law. You face Rhode Island penalties. This is too much money for driving normal speed." "It's not normal speed. It's 17 over the posted limit. But everyone drives like that on the highway." "Not legally they don't, And if they get caught, they get tickets too. Minji switches tactics. I want to speak to a supervisor. Judge Caprio's eyebrows raise. A supervisor? Ms. Park, I'm the judge. There is no supervisor. This is my courtroom. Then I want a different judge. You don't get to pick your judge. You get the judge assigned to your case. That's me. This isn't fair. What's not fair is that you've interrupted me at least 15 times. What's not fair is that you've refused to take responsibility for breaking the law. What's not fair is that you're making allegations of racism without evidence. And then she says it. Loudly. Clearly. With absolute certainty. You are being racist. You're making me pay more because I'm Korean. The courtroom erupts in gasps. You don't accuse a judge of racism in open court. Especially not Judge Caprio. His face goes completely still. When he speaks, his voice is ice cold. Ms. Park, I want to be very clear. The fine I quoted you, $350, is the standard fine for your violation. Every single person who comes through this court with the same violation pays the same fine. White, black, Asian, Hispanic. Everyone pays the standard rate based on how many miles over the limit they were going. I don't care what you believe. Those are the facts. His voice cuts like a blade. But since you want to accuse me of racism, let me tell you what I do care about. I care about respect. I care about people taking responsibility. I care about defendants who listen instead of interrupting constantly. I have the right to... You have the right to speak. You don't have the right to talk over me, refuse to listen, make baseless accusations, and then claim victimhood when you face consequences for your actions. Subscribe to Judge Stories if you believe respect goes both ways regardless of nationality. Judge Caprio opens the statute book deliberately. The courtroom is dead silent except for pages turning. Ms. Park, Rhode Island General Law 31-41.1-4 gives judges discretion to increase fines for aggravating circumstances. These circumstances include reckless disregard for safety and, he looks up at her pointedly, obstruction of judicial proceedings. Minji's confidence finally wavers. What does that mean? It means I have the legal authority to increase your fine based on your behavior in this courtroom. You can't do that. I absolutely can, and I'm about to. He makes notes in the file. Ms. Park, your constant interruptions prevented this court from functioning efficiently. Your refusal to listen wasted court time. Your baseless accusation of racism was offensive, inappropriate, and completely unsupported by evidence. But I'm still talking. His voice is steel. Therefore, I'm exercising my discretion under Rhode Island law. Your fine is increased from $350 to $700. What? Minji's face goes pale. You're doubling it? Yes. $700 plus court costs. Total of $775. This is outrageous. This proves you're racist. Wrong thing to say. Catastrophically wrong. Judge Caprio leans forward. Ms. Park, would you like me to hold you in contempt of court? Because that's an additional $500 and possible jail time. She opens her mouth, then closes it. I'll take your silence as understanding. $700, due in 30 days. If you fail to pay, your license will be suspended, and a warrant will be issued for your arrest. I want to appeal. You have that right. The appeals process is explained on the back of your citation. But the fine stands until and unless an appeals court overturns it, which, given your behavior today, and the fact that everything is recorded, I seriously doubt will happen. A Korean-American woman in the gallery raises her hand. Judge Caprio nods. She stands. Your Honor, I'm also Korean-American. I immigrated here 20 years ago, and I'm embarrassed by what just happened. This has nothing to do with racism. This is about someone who broke the law, refused to take responsibility, and then played the race card to avoid consequences. Another Asian man stands. Your Honor, I'm Chinese American. I've appeared in this court twice for traffic violations. You were fair both times. What this woman did, accusing you of racism, that was wrong. Judge Caprio acknowledges them. Thank you both. This is exactly right. Ms. Park came here today with a standard speeding ticket. She could have explained her circumstances, shown respect, taken responsibility, and likely received a reduced fine. Instead, she interrupted constantly, refused to listen, made false accusations, and turned a simple case into a confrontation. He addresses Minji directly one final time. Ms. Park, you're not being punished for being Korean. You're being punished for your behavior. There's a difference. Learn it. After Minji leaves, angry, humiliated, $775 poorer, several people approach the bench during the break. The Korean-American woman introduces herself. Your Honor, I'm Grace Kim. I felt I had to say something because what she did makes all of us look bad. Judge Caprio nods appreciatively. Ms. Kim, you didn't need to do that, but thank you. False accusations of racism hurt everyone. The people who experience real racism and aren't believed, and the people falsely accused. An older white man speaks up. Your Honor, I got a speeding ticket here last month, 19 over. You fined me $375. I paid it. I didn't accuse you of being racist against white people, because you weren't. You were enforcing the law. A Hispanic woman adds, I got pulled over for the same thing, 80-something in a 65. Judge Caprio gave me community service instead of a fine because I couldn't afford it. That's not racism, that's compassion. Judge Caprio addresses the remaining courtroom. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be clear about something. Racism is real. Racial profiling happens. Discrimination exists, and when it occurs in this court system, it should be called out and addressed. But what happened today wasn't that. Ms. Park got a ticket for speeding, something the officer documented with radar and visual confirmation. She came to court and instead of addressing the facts, she made it about race. That doesn't help fight real racism. It trivializes it. A younger Asian woman raises her concern. Your Honor, but don't you think doubling the fine might look like you were retaliating for the accusation? Judge Caprio appreciates the question. That's a fair concern. Here's why it's not retaliation. The fine wasn't doubled for the accusation alone. It was increased based on a pattern of behavior. Constant interruptions that prevented court proceedings, refusal to follow basic courtroom decorum, and obstruction of the judicial process. The racism accusation was the final piece, but it wasn't the only factor. And here's what's important. Everything that happened today is recorded. If Ms. Park appeals, the appeals court will watch the full video. They'll see every interruption. They'll hear every refusal to listen. They'll judge whether my ruling was appropriate based on her complete behavior, not just one moment. The prosecutor approaches during break. Your Honor, that was one of the most justified fine increases I've seen. She gave you no choice. I gave her multiple chances, multiple warnings. She chose not to take them. 2 days later, Judge Caprio receives a call from the appellate division. Minji filed an appeal claiming judicial bias and discrimination. The appellate judge reviews the courtroom video, counts 17 separate interruptions, notes 4 direct warnings from Judge Caprio that were ignored, observes the baseless racism accusation with 0 supporting evidence. The appeal is denied. The appellate ruling states, Judge Caprio's fine increase was well within statutory discretion and justified by the defendant's obstructive behavior in court. No evidence of bias or discrimination found. Minji pays the $775. Subscribe to Judge Stories now for moments when respect is demanded, regardless of background, and when false accusations backfire spectacularly. Minji Park came to court with a routine speeding ticket and left with double the fine. Not because of her nationality, not because of her ethnicity, but because she refused to show basic respect, interrupted constantly, and made false accusations when held accountable. Judge Caprio proved that courtroom standards apply equally to everyone. Interrupt the judge? Face consequences. Refuse to listen? Face consequences. Accuse without evidence? Face consequences. This is what happens when someone mistakes their heritage for a shield. When, in my country, becomes an excuse instead of context. And when playing the race card backfires, because the real issue was never race, it was respect. Comment below. Was doubling the fine fair or too harsh? Let's discuss.